Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you're a homeowner gearing up to replace your flooring, you probably already know this exact feeling. You walk into a US carpet showroom and instantly you're hit with a wall of literally thousands of slightly different fuzzy squares. It is completely overwhelming. You're getting pitched on twist rates, face weights, and fiber types, and you're just left thinking, where do I even start? Well, the secret to navigating the entire industry actually comes down to understanding one single foundational concept: cut pile versus loop pile carpet. Today, we're going to demystify exactly what that means for you as a US homeowner, and we'll give you the tools you need to make the absolute perfect choice for your home. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The anatomy of carpet. 2. Cut pile, the cozy choice. 3. Loop pile, the durable option. 4. The pet and family factor. 5. Costs and top US brands. And finally, 6. Making your final choice. So, Section 1, the anatomy of carpet. Let's look under the hood at the structural engineering. Now you might be wondering, why do some carpets easily last 20 years while others look completely ruined in just 2? It's the multi-thousand-dollar question, right? Nobody wants to walk on a massive financial mistake every single morning. And the answer isn't just about how much money you spend, it's actually all about structural design. It all starts at the factory with a process called tufting. Basically, in step 1, hundreds of tiny needles puncture a backing fabric, pushing yarn through to create loops. That's the baseline. Now, what happens next creates our 2 distinct categories. In step 2, if those yarn loops are left entirely intact and attached at both ends, you get loop pile. But look at step 3. If the manufacturer shears the top curve off during the process, you get cut pile. That single manufacturing decision changes literally everything about how the carpet is going to perform in your living room. Moving right along to Section 2, cut pile, the cozy choice. So, by definition, because the top curve of the yarn loops has been sheared off, cut pile leaves individual vertical tufts of yarn standing straight up. I want you to imagine thousands of tiny, soft pieces of string pointing straight up at your feet. This is exactly what creates that incredibly soft, plush, and luxurious surface that most people traditionally associate with a really cozy bedroom or a formal living room. And this brilliantly illustrates the load-bearing physics at play here. When you walk on a cut pile carpet, your foot traffic hits the tips of those vertical fibers directly. It's kind of like walking on top of tiny vertical pillars. Over time, this direct perpendicular impact makes it prone to compression fatigue, crushing, matting, and what the industry calls tip blooming, which is where the yarn actually untwists and becomes all fuzzy. Now, compare that to loop pile, which acts more like a sturdy suspension bridge. When you step on a loop, the weight is laterally distributed across the curved sides of the yarn, which physically prevents the fiber from just collapsing under your feet. Let's see how this builds into the specific styles you're going to find in the showroom. First up, plush or velvet. It's dense, smooth, and super elegant, but it shows every single vacuum track and footprint. It can also suffer from permanent pile reversal, sometimes called watermarking, where sections permanently lean in opposite directions, giving you these weird dark and light spots. Then you have Saxony, which is slightly more twisted and resilient, giving it a nice semi-formal look. And finally, Freeze, which features highly twisted, curly tufts that are just fantastic at hiding daily traffic and footprints, making it the most casual and durable of the cut pile options. Let's shift gears to Section 3, loop pile, the durable option. As we established a minute ago, loop pile is defined by its intact loops. Because both ends of the yarn remain firmly attached to the backing, it creates a continuous series of unbroken yarn bridges. This engineered resilience is absolutely why loop pile is the industry standard for high-traffic areas and commercial-grade applications. It has a natural spring to it that just fights back against heavy weight. Within loop pile, you're generally going to encounter 3 main subtypes. Berber is incredibly popular. It features chunky, thick loops, is highly durable, and often uses these really cool flecked colors to hide dirt. Next is level loop, which features uniform low loops that are packed in tight, making it extremely resilient to crushing. I mean, it's practically indestructible under normal foot traffic. Finally, we have multi-level loop, which uses varied loop heights to create beautiful geometric or organic visual patterns in depth, all without sacrificing the structural strength of those loops. All right, Section 4, the pet and family factor. This is where it gets very real for a lot of us. So, the crucial point here is beautifully summarized by this engineering quote from our sources. Because the yarn is looped, if a single strand is caught by a sharp object, it can pull, leading to the dreaded zippering effect where an entire row of yarn is unraveled. If you want a dog or a cat, this is the dangerous Velcro effect you absolutely must be aware of. Claws, sharp toys, or even high heels can catch a single loop, and instead of just breaking a fiber, it can literally pull an entire row right out of the carpet backing, just like a ladder in a stocking. Let's look at this comparison objectively so you can weigh your own household's habits. Cut pile is generally much safer for pet claws because there are no loops to snag on. However, because those tufts stand straight up, dirt, dander, and pet hair can get trapped deep down in the fibers, meaning it requires much more frequent and intensive vacuuming. Loop pile, on the other hand, keeps the dirt sitting right on the surface, making it super easy to clean. But, as we just saw, it's highly vulnerable to permanent snagging, laddering, and sprouting if your pets happen to love to scratch or dig. Section 5. Costs and top U.S. brands. Let's talk budget. When we look at material costs per square foot, you can see a really clear scale. Polyester is your budget-friendly synthetic starting as low as 50 cents, and it's great for resisting water-based stains. Nylon is basically the workhorse. Starting around 75 cents, it's the most durable synthetic and incredibly easy to clean. Then there's Triexta, an innovative newer synthetic blend that offers built-in stain resistance without the need for chemical coatings, starting at $1.50. And finally, wool. Organic, natural wool has the longest residential lifespan, but it definitely comes at a premium, ranging from $3 all the way up to a staggering $21 per square foot. Now, what's really interesting about this next breakdown is how the top U.S. brands differentiate themselves to solve specific homeowner problems. Mohawk is famous for its Smart Strand fiber and their lifetime all-pet protection warranty. Shaw Floors offers the LifeGuard waterproof backing, which is an absolute game-changer if you're installing carpet in a moisture-prone basement. Stainmaster remains a highly trusted name, particularly with their Pet Protect line that you'll find at Lowe's. And Dreamweaver provides excellent family value with their Pure Color solution-dyed fiber. That essentially means the color goes all the way through the yarn, so the stain resistance won't just wash out over time. And that brings us to Section 6, making your final choice. If you're going to take a screenshot today, this is absolutely the slide to grab. Let's walk through this room-by-room cheat sheet for choosing between cut pile and loop pile carpet. For a bedroom or formal living room where comfort is king, cut pile is your answer, specifically a plush or Saxony style. For a busy family room, you've got options. A highly twisted freeze cut pile or a patterned multi-level loop will both hide footprints beautifully. For high-impact zones like hallways and stairs, you absolutely want the durability of a loop pile, like a level loop or Berber. And finally, if your home is ruled by cats and dogs, stick to a freeze cut pile to completely avoid the heartbreak of snagged and unraveled loops. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Take a quick look around your home right now. Where are your high-traffic zones, and who exactly will be walking, crawling, or scratching on them? By matching the structural engineering of the carpet directly to the reality of your daily life, you are now fully equipped to march confidently into that showroom and make the perfect investment for your floors. Thanks for joining us.